What is up, Laker fans? The Lakers just defeated the Denver Nuggets in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, and it's been a while. It's been 10 years since we've been in a Western Conference Finals, and it's been 11 years since we played the Nuggets in the playoffs, and the Lakers just wrapped up their Game 1 victory. To be honest, I'm not as hype as I thought I would be after Game 1 win in the Western Conference Finals, just because it's been so long, just because the job's not finished. Like, it kind of seems that what the team reiterates, the fans, especially Laker fans, are like following as well. Yes, we love slandering other teams when they fail. Like I'll talk about later in the episode with the Clippers, the JV team in LA, failing to advance to the Western Conference Finals for the X number amount of years in a row for however long their franchise has been around. They still have yet to reach a Final Four, where the Lakers are right now, playing against the Denver Nuggets, a team that they blew a 3-1 lead to. And tonight, I was kind of shocked that the Lakers actually won a Game 1. The past two rounds, we've kind of come out flat on both nights, and especially how that first quarter went. Didn't like how they were playing. They weren't really playing defense at all. Easy buckets, easy half court, easy transition runouts, but again, the first quarter, I didn't like how the pace was. I didn't like how the lack of effort, the lack of defensive awareness, the lack of defensive intensity. You saw it on offense, but you didn't see it on the defensive side. And then the second half, the second quarter, they went on a huge run to start the quarter. Same with I believe, midway through the third, they also went through a big run where once the Lakers lock in defensively, this other team shouldn't be able to stop the Lakers from doing whatever they want to do. And the Lakers can stop whatever they're trying to do on offense. I believe we have the best defensive team left in the bubble and the best defensive team in the NBA, even though we only got one all-defensive player, and we didn't even get the Defensive Player of the Year, which I think is the bigger snub. Today, the MVP was announced, and LeBron was not given the MVP. It was Giannis. I think Giannis winning Defensive Player of the Year was a bigger snub than Giannis winning MVP over LeBron, because I get it. But again, I think Anthony Davis should have been the Defensive Player of the Year. I do think LeBron should have gotten more than 16 votes for first team, or not for first team, but for MVP. I would have voted for LeBron, but I get why many people would have voted for Giannis. But I just think he should have gotten more votes than what he got. And again, this is Daniel Beltz from King Watch LA. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys drop a like on YouTube/HNB Media TV. This has been a fun ride. This is the first playoff experience for me as a Laker fan in 7 years. I don't really count 2013, but it happened when we got swept when Kobe tore the Achilles. So it's kind of fun reliving what I went through in my childhood and early adulthood, where the Lakers were playing the playoffs every single year, and we expected to win every game. So now I expect the Lakers to win every game that we play. And right now, I believe we're 9-2 in the playoffs, with the only losses coming in Game 1s of each of the Rockets and Portland opening games. So tonight, we actually take care of home court, like Anthony Davis said. We won Game 1, and I believe it'll be tough for the Denver Nuggets to beat this Los Angeles Lakers team 4 out of the next 6 games, just because, like LeBron said, we're built different. I don't think we're as mentally, soft as the Clippers. Coming from their head coach to their 1B star to the rest of that roster, they have a lot of people that like to talk, and they have a lot of people that like to think they're tough out there on a basketball court. But talking and all that other stuff can only get you so far. You actually have to produce on the basketball court. And that's what this team has. This team has players that can talk and actually produce on the basketball court, and you can see their imprint felt. Like Rondo, definitely wrong on Rajon Rondo being able to play in the playoffs. That's something I did not think was going to be able to happen. I did not see that in his entire career in a Laker jersey, but he's a guy that talks. He's the guy that gets under the opponent's skin, and he's out there producing. Right now, he's played a way better postseason than Patrick Beverley has. And Patrick Beverley starts for the Clippers. Rondo plays backup point guard on this team. Same with Markieff, physical. You can tell he likes to battle. You can tell he gets away with a lot of physicality, and he likes to talk as well. And he's out there splashing threes. Like his talk, what he produces on the basketball court, you can tell that he backs it up. And that's what we have on this team. We don't have mentally soft players. We have players that can go 3 or 4 games without playing and then come in the next game and make an impact, which Dwight Howard did tonight. If you sit Trez or you sit Lou Will for 4 or 5 straight games, you probably have a disaster in the locker room happen. With the Lakers, Dwight just says, whatever the team needs me to do, I'll do. I don't know if that's how that happened, but from the top to the bottom of this team, it's just a very well-ran team from players 1 through 15, coach, executives, front office. Everyone seems to buy into the just play your role to the best of your ability, and you will play when needed. When we need you to step up, we expect you to step up because there's a reason why we signed you. And this Laker team has done that. It's one of the more interesting things because they said we didn't have depth. We didn't have the stars. We didn't have 2 superstars plus 2 18-point per game scorers off the bench. Like Lou Will tweeted out, like we have a team that just plays their role, fills into their spots, and just does the correct things on a basketball court to win games. That's why we love Alex Caruso. That's why we love Kyle Kuzma. That's why we love KCP now. KCP played one hell of a game tonight. That was actually one of the best games I've seen KCP play as a Laker. It seemed he was able to stay in front of Jamal Murray, unlike Danny Green. I don't want to see Danny Green attempt to guard Jamal Murray for much of the rest of the series. I don't need to see that. We saw enough tonight, and we built up such a lead where that didn't matter. But I don't want to see Danny Green attempt to guard Jamal Murray again. KCP played a lot better tonight on Jamal Murray than Danny Green, and that's something that we want to limit Jamal Murray going off, because unless he goes off, they don't have a chance to win. Because where else do they get their points? The Lakers are a really great defensive team, so if we can limit him to just basically what he produces every game, that's fine. We have to limit him going off, because we basically held Dame, CJ, Russ, and James Harden to their averages. If you can hold them to their averages, the Lakers will be in a position to win every single game. And I believe they only had 21 points each tonight, Jokic and Murray. So again, if the Lakers just hold them to their averages, this Laker team has a chance to do something special, has a chance to bring 17 to LA. And I want to just talk about Anthony Davis for a bit. This is Anthony Davis's first conference final game in his entire career. He played 6 seasons in New Orleans, never got to this point. And tonight was his first game in the Western Conference Finals. There was probably a lot of pressure, a lot of buildup. He did finish 6th, I believe, in MVP voting, which I think is a fraud. He should have been in the top 5 at least. And I think it's kind of like disrespectful to him to have Luka Doncic finish over him. And as well as, I would even say Kawhi this year. I think what Kawhi did was great for the Clippers, but the Lakers were a number 1 seed. Anthony Davis finished 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He finished on the All-NBA first team, so he should have at least finished top 5 in MVP voting. Him finishing 6th, I kind of take offense to that for him. And tonight, goes out, drops 37, 10, and 4, and he has some of the most effortless basketball plays I've ever seen just a player have. He just seems so skilled. He knows, like, basically, it was I believe in the 3rd or 4th quarter when Michael Porter's right next to him, and you can obviously tell Michael Porter Jr. is just going up for the block, and he just basically watches him jump by him and just finishes over the top. Like, it seems he has a full grasp of everything and like his entire surroundings, and he just gets buckets. He's one of the most skilled players I've seen of his, like, from his size ever in the entire NBA history. I don't think there's many players you can put over him his size as more skilled. And he gets that bad rep for being soft, kind of how like Dirk had soft. But what I say to counter that is you can't be that soft if you're having that much of an impact on defense. Yes, his blocks are down basically in this postseason, but it's just because no one's challenging him. He takes that effort. He takes the responsibility of guarding players. He's not playing free safety. And it just, people don't want to attack him. Like, they think, well, they know the better shot is the shot where Anthony Davis is not guarding you. You saw with Westbrook, he didn't really want to attack AD. You saw with Jokic tonight, let's pass out of this. Anytime he's guarding players, they want to pass out of that. They don't want to attack Anthony Davis. So you can't really be soft if you anchor a defense, in my opinion, especially if you're dropping 30 and 10 every single night on the opposing team. To me, you can't be soft doing that. To me, you should be a top 5 player in the NBA, which, in my opinion, he is. But you should be highly regarded from opposing fan bases as being a top 5 player in the league. It's just he happens to wear a Laker jersey. He happens to be clutch. He has to love LeBron James. It happens to be he forced his way out of a small market. People don't like that. And from what he portrays, he doesn't care. Like tonight, he could have made everything about himself, but he said job's not finished, basically. He said, we just took care of home court. There's nothing really to be excited about. The journey's not done. The mission is still 17. And it's cool to see a player of his caliber drop 37 and 10 and not basically want to say, hey, I should be MVP. Hey, I should do this. He actually even said, if you take LeBron off this team takes a hit. He is one of LeBron's biggest supporters. And he just seems to be like a really good dude, a really good teammate, a really good player. So it's funny to see the rep he gets around the league just because he wanted out of a place that didn't kind of help him succeed. You're paying Omer Ashik, Alex Ajinka all this money, Solomon Hill, each one more. Like, what are you doing? Build AD a winner instead of giving him that surrounding talent. Like, why are we penalizing Anthony Davis for wanting a better environment if you're surrounding him with that? I don't get it. Same with, if Giannis wants to leave, cool. Don't care. They haven't put enough pieces around you. They let Brogdon leave. They didn't want to go over the tax to pay him. Like, to me, that's kind of opening the door for Giannis to leave, just like how KD left. When they didn't want to go over that tax to pay Harden, they looked for like the cheaper way outs, hoping that their talent would get them to a finals, to get them to rings. There are things you can do for your franchise to get a ring, where the Thunder and the Bucks did not. So once their players are disgruntled and want to leave, just like Anthony Davis in New Orleans, you get viewed differently just because the team that drafted you isn't willing to make the sacrifices to build you a winner. So I don't know why we penalize Anthony Davis for wanting out of New Orleans. When you put him in the correct environment, this is what you get. A dude dropping 30 and 10 in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Like, he should be what leads the news tomorrow. Like, he probably one of his best games in the Laker jersey. There are just some shots he makes on offense that I can't believe go in. Like his 20-foot size up, 20-foot size up mid-range shots that he takes. I can't believe someone that big is just constantly knocking those down. And then you go to the lob that he catches from Rondo, just a thing of beauty. And one thing Rondo does well, and it's something he's doing very well this postseason compared to the regular season, Rondo seems to just only want to look for Anthony Davis, which we have no problem with. If you want to give the ball to our best player, offensive player, when LeBron's not in the game, go for it. Stop over dribbling. Just look to get AD involved. Like, there was that insane lob that he finished. There was also, I believe he had 2 spins off of Jokic into where he caught the lobs over them as well. So Rondo just helps AD get 6-8 quick points. And once you get him involved like that on offense, it's going to transfer over to his defense because he's like already feeling the momentum. All of our bigs tonight were sprinting back to get back on defense as well as in transition. This is where I think Jokic kind of gets frustrated and kind of starts flailing his arms, trying to get a quick call, trying to get something. And then tonight they were actually called against him when he tried to push up Dwight's arms. You saw the offensive foul get called on Jokic instead of a defensive foul on Dwight. Like, there are actual fouls. It's just Jokic. I don't think in the last series he was used to this. Trez, for as good as Trez is offensively, he doesn't really like to bang down low on the block with Jokic. And if he did, he's just not tall enough, not long enough to do that against Jokic for an extended period of time. But if you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, we have depth, we have size, we have bigs to throw at him. You go JaVale, AD, LeBron, Dwight, Markieff. It's 5 dudes, 5 very strong physical dudes that like to fight for boards, fight for position on the glass, run in transition. That's where I think this might be a long series for Jokic. He's definitely skilled. He's one of the best big men in the entire league, but against a team that has this much size that runs, this much size that battles for boards. With JaVale and Dwight, there are going to be a couple games where they both get 6 fouls just because they are out there to make Jokic's life hell, just to battle, make the refs call something. And that's what they are out there to do. And that's what I love from Dwight Howard tonight, who was our X factor. They put him in the game just at the second quarter, and we look like a brand new team. There was a sense of life. There was a sense of energy. There's a sense of effort. And this was probably him not playing the last 3 games in the Houston Rockets series. He stayed ready, which is something I just love about this current Los Angeles Lakers team. Top to bottom, how they sound, they sound very similar in all the answers they give to the press. Their coach, very similar. You match it up with what happens on the court. It matches, it backs everything they say. They don't pout on the bench. There's no altercations on the bench. They hold each other accountable. They're able to do that and respect each other as peers instead of whatever the hell happened in Boston last night. It's cool to see a Laker team have this team chemistry. We haven't seen that since 2010, where things are held accountable, great players, and yada-da-da. And a great coach. Things are definitely trending upward in Los Angeles. We are 1-0. I don't think there's much to take, though, from game 1 into game 2. They want to say game 1's a feel-out game, but it's kind of hard to have a feel-out game when that first half goes the way it went. And I tweeted out at halftime of the game, the last time the Lakers got that many free throws in a quarter or in a half, they actually played better in that second half. I believe it was a Portland Trailblazer game 4, game 5, or maybe even game 3. When the Lakers got 30 free throws in the first half, they played But when they got to the second half, they played very well. It finally feels like they got a flow of that game. And I was I would expect the same thing to happen. And once the third quarter started, that's when the lead expanded. Into the fourth quarter, that lead expanded. And then you got to see the Lakers throw out their white flag, basically with Jared Dudley. Whenever I see Jared Dudley in the game, I know it's game over. And he's our white flag, but he's also our team vet. How he speaks, how he carries himself. You can see his impact within every single player. You see Kuzma always keep his head up. You see the rest of the young players on our team like Caruso keep their head up, and the vets also trust what he has to say. He is a great player to have on your team, but just when I see him in the game, I know it's a wrap. And things that take over to game 2 improvements. Going to answer Ben Cabrera. Does Dwight start or continue to come off the bench? I think you keep the same lineups from game 1 into game 2. Just see how it goes. Because like I said, there's not much to take into account from what happened tonight as to what's going to happen the rest of the series. But you kind of have a quick kind of leash on the rotations. If JaVale continues to play kind of disinterested like he did in the first half on defense in the first quarter, then put Dwight in as the next big that comes off the bench. And as the series goes on, you see the rest of Dwight's minutes or JaVale's minutes get handed over to Dwight and Markieff. Dwight played very well. Do I think that's sustainable for him over a 4, 5, 6, 7 game series? We will see. But every time he's played the Nuggets this year, he's had that chip on his shoulder. This happened in the 2 regular season matchups as well. He just likes this challenge for whatever reason. And it's great to see. And this team can afford Dwight to start, basically, just because of the depth we have at the center position. I don't know if JaVale would be effective coming off the bench. That's why I say stick for the rotations for now. But it's something Vogel and the rest of the team will have to decide for themselves. It's cool to see. I'm trying to put into words the feelings of a Laker fan that's been here, what this team is currently doing. And I don't know. It's great to see. It's good to see no Robert Sacre basically on this team anymore. No Kendall Marshall, no Wesley Johnsons. Like it's fun to see this team play for something. It's fun to see this team just bring excitement back to the Laker fan base. It's been a long time coming, and we've heard that we're not the varsity team in LA anymore, but we've already done more in this season than the Clippers have done the past 10. So it's like it's kind of sad for that fan base and that franchise compared to what this is. And this isn't what we expect. We expect a ring. Like, we don't care about making the Western Conference Finals. Like, that's not our end all be all. It's just funny that this season, this Laker team is already more successful than any Clipper team that's ever been formed. And you kind of see both Kawhi and Paul George passed up the opportunity to play in Los Angeles. So it is what it is. One thing I kind of upset about tonight was free throw shooting. If a team is going to give you that many free throws, they're called free for a reason. You better take advantage of that. That was my only concern. Because, yes, the whistles, but the Lakers played harder. The Lakers attacked the paint, attacked the boards, and just played better defense. So sometimes you're rewarded for that effort, and the Lakers were tonight. But when you're rewarded with that effort, you have to make the free throws. You can't continue to shoot like that and expect to win every single game. Because it was almost like the Lakers were losing points going to the line instead of actually getting to a set and trying to score on offense. So we scored a ton tonight. And the Nuggets aren't a great defensive team, in my opinion, especially with the advantages we have on offense. Like, we have a LeBron James, we have an Anthony Davis. So sometimes with the team, if they're missing their free throws, it's almost like I'd rather not be at the free throw line, because we might actually score 2 points instead of 1, which this team likes to do. There was a time I believe the Lakers missed 5 straight free throws. So again, yes, Lakers shot more free throws tonight, but kind of just watch what the Lakers do. Sometimes we can't make a free throw to save our life, so it's almost better to foul us than to let us get into our set and get an open three-point shooter a shot, or have an easy play ran for AD, or watch LeBron attack the rim and score over whoever the hell is guarding him. Another area of concern is just LeBron's ankle. No idea how bad he hurt it, how much. He didn't really come back into the game after, I believe, 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter, or maybe it was 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. He just took the rest off, and Lakers expanded the lead, and then it shrunk once we put in Jared Dudley and the rest of the boys. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens with his ankle and how they treat it, and what happens if he's available for game 2. I think he'll be available for game 2 because he did basically he played after he rolled it. So we'll see. And again, like many of you guys are saying in the comments, like Khalil Burton, this was a feel-out game for the Lakers. Every game 1 that they've played in this postseason has been a feel-out game. And LeBron only scored 15 points tonight. So I think you got to look at yourselves and say, we might be in trouble if LeBron only scored 15 and we lost and we were down by 20 plus in the second half. Like, it's got to be a scary feeling for an opposing coach. And I know the Nuggets have had a not back down mentality, because they've gone to 7 games every single playoffs they've had with Jokic and Murray. But we're not the Clippers. We're not the Jazz. We're the Los Angeles Lakers. We have 2 superstars. We have 2 top 5 players in the league. We have players that buy into what our coach and what our vets and what our leaders are putting down. And again, I think where other teams kind of collapsed against this Nuggets team, I just think the Lakers have players, vets, leaders that will stop a run, that will stop an 8-0 run. Vogel actually called a timeout after an 8-0 run, unlike Doc Rivers in Game 7 against the Nuggets. So I don't know. I just think this Laker team currently constructed, 17 should be reasonable. 17 should be on the way. Like, that's how I see it. That's how a lot of Laker fans sees it as well. Like, we have Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Nights like tonight, go get you 37, 10, and 4 and make it look effortless. believe he had like 14 points in the first quarter, 2 points in the second, and then like 19, 18 in the third. It's nuts how quick he can get hot and how effortless he makes it. And just the rhythm he has, it's cool to see. And Rondo has definitely helped that with Anthony Davis. And again, very wrong on Rondo. And yeah, there's not much for me to take away from this game just because it was so sloppy. The Nuggets turned the ball over a lot. We got a lot of fouls in the first quarter, first half, and yeah, it's good to be up 1-0. It's good to not stress about home court basically for the rest of the series. It's good to just start 1-0 instead of being down 0-1. But then you got to think about beating the team you're facing 4 out of the next 6 times. And I don't think you can beat the Lakers 4 out of 6 times. 4 out of 7, I don't see it either. But 4 out of 6, hell no. I don't see it. Like LeBron James said, we're just built different. And that'll be it for tonight. Very quick show. Gonna try and get some more people on for the Sunday night show, just because I have Monday off of work. So we will definitely be partaking in hopefully a celebration of Game 2 as well on Sunday night, and a couple of margaritas or just straight tequila as well Sunday night. So make sure you guys follow King Watch LA. Make sure you guys follow Hoops and Brews as well. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube at HNB Media TV. Make sure you guys drop a like, comment, hit me up on Twitter with whatever you guys have to say about whatever the hell happened tonight or happens Game 2, or with what LeBron had to say about the MVP voting or just any of that. And until the next time we speak, man, go Lakers, and I'll see you guys next time.